Neurons that fire together wire together. This is a famous quote from the Canadian psychologist Donald Hebb, considered as the father of neuropsychology and neural networks. Our brain is not an immutable machine, but a changeable muscle. When we do any activity, such as reading, playing tennis or cooking, some neurons get fired into our brain. Depending on which neurons get stimulated, specific connections become stronger while others may become weaker. This is neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity or brain plasticity stands for the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. The term is derived from two words, neuron and plastic. Let's see what each of them represents. A neuron is a nerve cell in our brain, and it consists of the stoma or the body, an axon, and dendrites. Neuron cells are electrically excited cells that process and transmit information through electrical and chemical signals. The cells are connected with each other by synapses, which transmit chemical signals and allow neurons to form new neural networks. All neurons are electrically excitable. They maintain voltage gradients across their membranes by ion channels and ion pumps. What that means is that when there is a high voltage change, ion pumps generate action potential and the information travels through a network of neurons from one cell to another. The word plastic doesn't mean the brain has plastic consistency, as one might think, but it refers to the ability of change. Plastic stands for mold, modify or sculpt. Our brain can modify its structure and function caused by bodily and environmental changes. To sum up, neuroplasticity refers to the brain's ability to change physically in response to experiences, changes that are the basis of our learning and memory. There are two main types of neuroplasticity: synaptic plasticity, such as changes in the strengths of connections between neurons, and structural plasticity, such as changes in the wiring of the brain. These types of plasticity themselves have many underlying mechanisms. Long-term potentiation (LTP) and long-term depression (LTD) are the processes by which the synapse gets stronger or weaker. This happens as a result of biochemical and mechanical processes such as receptor molecules being added to the synapse or receptors being chemically activated and deactivated. Structural plasticity occurs when neurons grow new axons and synapses, altering the structure of the neural network. The axons tunnel their way through neural tissue like roots growing in soil until they bump into other neurons and form new synapses. Sometimes new wiring is added during brain development and then later removed, called pruning. Every time a new memory is formed, the brain changes. If you can remember what you did yesterday, physical changes happened in the brain to store that memory, and that is neuroplasticity. In a nutshell, neuroplasticity means that the way your brain gets wired is based on the things that you repeatedly do. That means that whenever you adopt a new habit, the way your brain is physically configured changes. That makes it easier for you to do actions that you always decide to do without expending too much brain energy. That also means that it is easier for children to pick up habits and stick to them compared to adults, since the brains of children are still into development. For example, you may have noticed that thumb sucking or nail biting can be easily ingrained in children, but once they have better options to deal with anxiety, they can stop these habits faster than how adults can quit smoking, for example. However, it does not mean that your brain's plasticity has already ended. No matter how old you are, your brain can still change to adapt to habits that you want to stick to.